All right, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday. Tikva, Grand Rising, Vanette. Greetings. Thank you, sis. Thank you, Elijah. Grand Rising. Be safe on your ride. Don't be texting and driving, brother. All right, y'all. Happy Tuesday. It is September the 6th, 2022. Day 205 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1223. And today we're picking back up in Oahspe in the book of Safa on page 563. And today we start the Chamber of Adepts. Tanya Bumberry, Grand Rising. Hannah, Grand Rising. All right, people. So let's get started. Father, your love is without fail. All right, y'all. Page 563, Chamber of Adepts. So remember, we still got this initiate going through this ceremony, right? It's just a part of their spiritual growth. So all of this is they're not actually, clearly y'all done figured it out, but they're not actually in the presence when it has like the false gods and lords showing up. This is just a ceremony where somebody's acting these things out, right? It's kind of like a test that they go through. Well, no, let me not say that. I just thought about the beginning of it. Because remember when they started, shoot, some of them died. The ones fell into the hole, right? Remember the Begon God one, because the ones that died that fell into the pit, they took slices of their thighs. Yeah, well, let me belay my last. Some of this, it clearly seems like they're truly going through a real life ritual, which you could or could not come out on the other end alive, right? But they full well knew this. Okay. All right, so Chamber of Adepts. So this is, we have S. Who was S? Can you tell us the other day who S was? Yes. South. Okay, so we have the South speaking, and we have the initiate. And I think that's all for this one. It's only 16 verses. Then it's the Chamber of Prophecy, which is 2 verses, and then the basis of the Ezra Bible again. All right, so Chamber of Adepts, page 563. S. By what authority approachest thou the Chamber of Adepts? Initiate. As Jehovah created me, so am I. S. What canst thou do? Initiate. I labor more than sufficient to provide for myself. I govern my passions and corporal senses. I never speak in anger or even think in anger or hatred or envy. I never talk of myself or what I can do or what I have done so as to laud myself. Neither do I justify myself by words or arguments for errors which I may have committed. I contend with no one for anything, or principle, or knowledge of my own. I administer unto others for their corporal and spiritual resurrection and happiness. South. Wouldest thou not contend for right and justice against wrong and bondage? Initiate. Alas, I might be in error as to what is right or wrong, or justice or bondage. Nay, I contend not at all, neither do I resist, nor set up my judgment against any man's. The light of the Father which I receive, that declare I unto others. South. What else hast thou attained? Initiate. To adapt myself to others, so as to be desired by them. I have taught myself to love, to wait on, and assist the low and depraved, to wash them and provide them with comfort. I have overcome all desire to serve myself for self's sake in any way whatsoever. S. What are thy possessions? Initiate. Nothing. I have put away all earthly possessions. S. What are thy qualifications? Initiate. Try me. Set apart living. Shalom. Anita. Shalom. The initiate is now tried as to his capacity to see spiritually while blindfolded and to hear spiritually something beyond the reach of mortal ears. Then he exhibited the power of angels to write on the tablets before the altar in the presence of witnesses. After this, the initiate asked the angels to lift him to the ceiling. This is also accomplished in the presence of witnesses. Next, he casteth himself in trance, and the angels come in sargus and talk to people. After this, he goeth out of his mortal body, traveling in spirit to a neighbor's house, seeing and hearing what is there, and making his spirit manifest unto that place. And then he returneth and re-inhabiteth his own body. Thus ended the trial. We ain't nowhere near this. None of us should be going through any kind of initiation until we know how to do that. We just realizing, yo, we can go in and out our body on purpose? What? And everybody can do it? Listen, listen, hold on. Let me just go back and read this again. Let me go back to verse 11. South, what are thy qualifications? Initiate, try me. The initiate is now tried as to his capacity to see spiritually whilst blindfolded and to hear spiritually something beyond the reach of mortal ears. Then he exhibited the power of angels to write on the tablets before the altar in the presence of witnesses. After this, the initiate asked the angels to lift him to the ceiling, and this is also accomplished in presence of witnesses. Next, he casteth himself in trance, and the angels come in sargus and talk to people. After this, he goeth out of his mortal body, traveling in spirit to a neighbor's house, seeing and hearing what is there, and making his spirit manifest unto that place. And then he returneth and re-inhabiteth his own body. Thus ended the trial. South, thou art found worthy of the most sacred order of adepts. What hopest thou to gain by this initiation? Initiate. By meeting with like fellows, the soul of man findeth a haven of rest, after which man cometh forth again invigorated for arduous labor. After this, followeth the ceremony of passing the ark and attaining to the foot of the throne of light, where the initiate maketh his vows to Jehovah. Music, bells, etc., etc., omitted. The next chapter, Chamber of Prophecy. It is 2 verses. Look, there, here you go. Look, we mentioned this before. Chamber of Prophecy. God said, before learning to approach the foot of the throne, what profit is it to show them the way to mount upon the throne itself? Preserve, therefore, the secrets of prophecy for such as apply themselves to keeping Jehovah's commandments. Those who have attained to the foot can of themselves find the way to mount upon it. Right? Listen. So you see what this previous dude just did, this initiate, him attaining to the foot of the throne, right? This is what he did. To get to this point, to even mount the throne, you have to already have your flesh under subjection. You got to be able to do all these things in and out of spirit at will. Go in and out, be able to sargus your own body, right? Well, we got so many people running around here calling themselves prophets. Inquiring minds would like to know. All right, next chapter, the basis of the Ezra Bible. And if we got any Christians in the house, y'all gonna love this, or you may not. What page? Page 564, Tigler. If you go to page 564, right in the middle of the left side, it says Chamber of Prophecy. Those were the 2 verses we just read. That is all the chapter right there for that. The next, under that, is the basis of the Ezra Bible. In the time of Moses, the people of Arabia worshipped many gods and lords, whose high heavenly captain was Osiris. 4 chief gods were under him. They were Baal, Ashtaroth, Dagon, and Ashdod. We all familiar with them names. If you have a Bible, you're familiar with these 4 names, right? This was during their time. Oahspe confirms this. Listen. 4 chief gods were under him. They were Baal, Ashtaroth, Dagon, and Ashdod. There were 27 other gods also known to mortals. When the Israelites traveled forth amidst the different tribes, they were beset to know what Lord or God they worshiped, and by what Lord or God they were led forth. The light and wisdom and words came to Moses to say to the nations, Alas, his name, whom we worship, man dare not utter. Within the commune families were certain signs and passwords belonging to the different degrees. There were also oral rules of life and worship, but these were kept secret from the multitude. But the instruction of the commune fathers to the families was by this method made to harmonize all the people. For general behavior, Moses gave 10 commandments, which were not only made public, but incumbent upon the commune fathers to teach orally to their respective families. The following are the commandments thus taught. That is to say, I am that brought thee out of Egypt. Thou shalt have no gods nor lords but the I am. Thou shalt not make any image of the I am out of anything that is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters. Thou shalt not bow down thyself before idols, nor images, nor anything having the form of anything in heaven, or on the earth, or in the waters. Thou shalt not speak my name in public, for I will not hold him guiltless that giveth it to idolaters and lovers of evil. Remember the sacred days and keep them holy. 6 days shalt thou labor, but the 7th day is the Sabbath. It's the Sabbath. But they got Sa'abadha. Remember the sacred days and keep them holy. 6 days shalt thou labor, but the 7th day is the Sa'abadha. I think I still said it wrong. We can keep going. Honor thy father and mother. Thou shalt not kill any living thing. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal, nor bear false witness, nor covet anything that is another's. In those days it so happened that one Coatha, an Egyptian woman, a Suez, went into the lodge at noon, and no person being within the lodge save herself. Now whilst she was examining the remnants of showbread and basins and the candlestick, a voice spake to her, saying, Touch not these, they are sacred. But the woman, knowing it was a spirit, said, If I tell what I heard, I will be accursed, for it was not the multitude of seeresses that brought the plagues on Egypt. Let me read that again. In those days it so happened that one Coatha, an Egyptian woman, a Suez, went into the lodge at noon, no person being within the lodge save herself. Now whilst she was examining the remnants of showbread and basins and the candlestick, a voice spake to her, saying, Touch not these, they are sacred. But the woman, knowing it was a spirit, said, If I tell what I heard, I will be accursed. For was it not the multitude of seeresses that brought the plagues on Egypt? Again the voice spake, I will give thee the signs and password of the high fathers, that they may know also that thou knowest. Now thereupon the Spirit told her the secrets, and he likewise said, Say thou to Moses, the I am saith, and Moses will wonder at thy speech. Behold, these implements are sacred. Hide thou them by day, for they who have spirit perception, perceiving them, will obtain the signs and passwords. The woman, Coatha, did as commanded, and Moses commanded workmen to make a tabernacle, a model or image of a place of worship, a portable temple, and the sacred implements were kept and the sacred implements were kept within said tabernacle, and this was the corporal base of the Ark of Bond, a locality in the Ethereal heaven, by which the light of the second heaven reached the earth to Moses and his people in a pillar of cloud by day and of light by night. And up where it says, by which the light of the second heaven reached the earth to Moses, after second is reference number 32. And down at the bottom, 32 says, sacred heaven. All right. Verse 19, page 564. The secret ceremonies command vegetable diet for fathers, prophets, seers, and wanoas, trance subjects, and many of Oahspe's people followed their example. After some years of experience, those who fasted from flesh murmured, saying, what have we gained from our sacrifice? Jamil, shalom, shalom. Shayla, hey, God, hey. Hold on. Verse 19, let me read again. The secret ceremonies commanded vegetable diet for fathers, prophets, seers, and wanonas, which are trance subjects. And many of Oahspe's people followed their example. After some years of experience, those who fasted from flesh murmured, saying, what have we gained from our sacrifice? So they broke their fast by the hundreds and by thousands, and there came by their camps numberless birds, and they caught and killed and ate them freely. But being unaccustomed to such diet, they were taken with fever and died, upward of 60,000 of them, men, women, and children. And the place was called Kibroth Hatava, the place of luster. So we remember that story, right? It didn't tell us this. It just said that the people, the multitude, complained, why you lead us out here in the wilderness, Moses? If we would have stayed in Egypt, at least we could have still ate the leeks and the melons, you know, all those things, right? And this is when the quail came. But because they had been fasting, if anybody's ever fasted for long periods of time, even going to a plant-based lifestyle for any good period of time, if you choose to go back to eating meat, you really start having issues with your body because your body has been cleansed from flesh. That's what, remember when Jeremiah went plant-based? He did good. Then he started, hanging around friends and stuff, eating these juicy burgers and all this other stuff. I'm gonna just taste a little bit of it. Then he got hooked again. And what started happening? He started breaking out. He never had breakouts, and he has the most beautiful skin. But he had already gotten all that out of his system for months. He didn't touch anything. And for most of the time, he was raw, eating raw fruits and veggies and stuff, and lightly steaming his vegetables. After all of that, after he went back to eating meat, I say he probably went back to eating meat. I don't even think it was a whole month. His body started breaking out, dry patches. Mom, what is this? That's when I was joking. I was like, oh my God, monkeypox. He said, what? I was like, boy, no, I'm just joking. I said, think about what you've been doing. I said, you started consuming flesh again, didn't you? Oh, this is it. I'm never putting this stuff in my mouth again. It was funny. Tabitha, shalom, shalom. Listen, hold on, let me go back. Let me read 19 again. The secret ceremonies commanded vegetable diet for fathers, prophets, seers, and wanonas, trance subjects, and many of Oahspe's people followed their example. And not only will it break your skin out and stuff, it's going to mess up your digestion tract, all of that stuff. But they had been doing it so long that when they ate meat at this point, they gorged themselves on it. And it's clearly understandable, even from a medical standpoint, why they died. Right? Listen. The secret ceremonies commanded vegetable diet for fathers, prophets, seers, and wanonas, trance subjects, and many of Oahspe's people followed their example. After some years of experience, those who fasted from flesh murmured, saying, what have we gained for our sacrifice? Because y'all was doing it for the wrong reason. Oh, we can gain this power by doing this, right? The real G is gonna hold out. All the ones that just playing along, you ain't gonna be able to play for but for so long. You ain't gonna be able to fake this but for so long, right? You have ulterior motives, but when it comes from the heart, it just flows, right? There is no, oh my gosh, why I gotta do this? Why we still doing this? Why we still gotta do this? It ain't none of that, right? After some years of experience, those who fasted from flesh murmured, saying, What have we gained from our sacrifice? So they broke their fast by hundreds and by thousands. And there came by their camps numberless birds, and they caught and killed and ate them freely. But being unaccustomed to such diet, they were taken with fever and died, upward of 60,000 of them, men, women, and children. And the place was called Kilbrath Hatava, the place of lusters. Right, Tikva, right. She said this also shows that there were others in the wilderness besides us with the Egyptian woman, right? He didn't tell you none of this, that they was fasting either, right? The way that they give you the story is just like, you know what? You want meat? I'm gonna give you meat, right? It didn't tell them. It just looked like that was a punishment for eating the birds that came by. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a punishment, but your body punished you because you lived a clean lifestyle, because you violate the laws of your body. The Creator didn't do anything, right? Because you violate the laws of your body, those are the consequences of doing things like that. Just like overeating. You overeat, your body gonna blow up, right? For the most part, it just depends on what type of genetics you got going on. Because some people eat like pigs and they don't gain a pound, right? So just depending on what's going on, right? Consequences and repercussions. TikTok, yes. Mom, shalom, shalom. Okay. Page 565, verse 20 at the top. So they broke their fast by hundreds and by thousands, and there came by their camps numberless birds, and they caught and killed and ate them freely. But being unaccustomed to such diet, they were taken with fever and died, upward of 60,000 of them, men, women, and children. And the place was called Kilbrath Hatava, the place of lusters. In the year 3269 BK, the Israelites began to marry with the Canaanites who were under the control of Baal. Ashtaroth, whose dominions extended jointly with Baal over western and south and southern Arabia, sent spirit emissaries to the handsomest of the women of Canaan, and by impression led them into the camps of the Israelites to tempt the young men. For by these means did the heathen gods determine to destroy the worshippers of the great unseen. And many of the Israelitish young men were tempted by the beauty of the heathen women, and thus took them for wives, and said wives bought with them their own familiar spirits, who were slaves to Baal and Ashtaroth. The ark of Bond immediately sent Jerub, an Etherian angel, into the Israelites' camp, giving him 2,000 inspiring spirits to counteract the labors of Baal and Ashtaroth. Nevertheless, it so came to pass that when the half-breed children were grown up, having Canaan mothers, they began to murmur against the peace policy of the Israelites, saying, as other people have kings and emperors, why not we? As other people raise up soldiers, declare war, and go forth possessing themselves of lands and cattle, why do not we? For 397 years after going out of Egypt, the Israelites lived without a corporal king or other government, save the community of fathers, and they attained to the number of 6 million souls, men, women, and children. Right? See, the Bible leaves all this stuff out. It just makes you think that full-blown, full-blooded Israelites started murmuring and complaining, and it wasn't them. It was the mixed half-breed babies. Listen, and I say that jokingly, but seriously, and mixed because remember, if we remember, Israelites were told not to marry outside of themselves, not because of race or color. No, because we worship the Great Spirit, right? Canaan, they worship multiple gods, right? They doing all kinds of stuff, right? So remember, also it told us that Israelites were once, their original name, were faithists. But when they migrated to a certain place, they began to be called by the name Israelites, right? Miss Amazing Wonders, shalom. Listen, let me go back. Let me go back to 22. Ashtaroth, whose dominions extended jointly with Baal over western and southern Arabia, sent spirit emissaries to the handsomest of the women of Canaan, and by impression led them into the camps of the Israelites to tempt the young men. For by these means did the heathen gods determine to destroy the worshippers of the great unseen. And many of the Israelitish young men were tempted by the beauty of the heathen women, and thus took them for wives, and said wives brought with them their own familiar spirits, who were slaves to Baal and Ashtaroth. The ark of bond immediately sent Jerub, an Etherian angel, into the Israelites' camp, giving him 2,000 inspiring spirits to counteract the labors of Baal and Ashtaroth. Remember, Baal and Ashtaroth, they playing the game, right? They pitting people against one another. They talking to one another, playing this game of mortal death amongst the mortals, who are none the wiser if they're not worshipers of the great spirit only, or of the great unseen. And many of the Israelitish young men were tempted by the beauty of the heathen women, and thus took them for wives, and said wives brought with them their own familiar spirits, who were slaves to Baal and Ashtaroth. The ark of bond immediately sent Jerub, an Etherian angel, into the Israelites' camp, giving him 2,000 inspiring spirits to counteract the labors of Baal and Ashtaroth. Nevertheless, it so came to pass that when the half-breed children were grown up, having Canaan mothers, they began to murmur against the peace policy of the Israelites, saying, as other people have kings and emperors, why not we? As other people raise up soldiers, declare war, and go forth possessing themselves of lands and cattle, why do not we? For 397 years after going out of Egypt, the Israelites lived without a corporal king or other government, save the community of fathers, and they attained to the number of 6 million souls, men, women, and children. But in the 397th year, the gods Baal and Ashtaroth triumphed through their familiar spirits, and caused the Israelites to anoint a king to rule over them. The king was called Saul, signifying of the Lord God. Prior to this, the Israelites acknowledged no God nor Lord, but covenanted with the Great Spirit, Eoah. The name had been kept secret with the fathers, and the commandments were announced from the Great Spirit, I am. The familiar spirits now inspired Saul to change the words of the commandments to the Lord thy God as a conciliatory stratagem to please the nation of tribes of people who worship Baal, Dagon, Ashtaroth, Hoghack, and other gods and lords of the lower heavens. Thus was substituted Lord God, and in parentheses after Lord God, it's land God, Land, land God. For thus was substituted Lord God, land God, for Jehovah, called sacredly Eoah, and as the Great Spirit had been heretofore taught to the Israelites as an inconceivable entity whose form and extent no man could attain to know, so was he now transformed and declared to be in the form of a man, having a residence in the firmament of heaven. Thus they made the Great Spirit merely an idol. Thus they began the overthrow of the holy doctrine of Moses. Verse 29, page 565. Jerub, the Etherian angel in command, sought to preserve the old tenets, and amongst mortals sought out one, Samuel. We familiar with this story. We're just getting the other side of what was really happening, what was going on. Because all we see is Saul taking rule and reign, him doing whatever he want to do. What is this bleating of sheep I hear in my ear coming from Samuel? Oh, it was good. Who's going to offer it to the Lord? First of all, my dear, you ain't even supposed to be doing sacrifices. And why is the king here? Why is the king? Right? Listen, the other king from the other party, right? Verse 29, Jerub, the Etherian angel in command, sought to preserve the old tenets, and amongst mortals sought out one, Samuel, and inspired him to establish a college of prophets. This was done at Naoth, and hither congregated the inspired, and they established a crescent tablet and made prophecies from Ethera for a period of 70 years. Hereupon the Israelites were twain, those of the king and those of Eoah, the prophets, and these placed them at a disadvantage before neighboring tribes and nations. Having sacrificed the name of the Great Spirit and made him into a man figure, the heathen said, what better is their Lord God than our Lord or our God? And they made war against the Israelites on all sides. And the latter, having stooped to a corporal king, went further on and raised armies of soldiers and went to war. We can clearly see this throughout the book of Kings, Chronicles, the books of the prophets. The true faith is in fact in the Bible. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, Haggai, Zechariah, Amos, all of them, major and minor, whatever you want to label them, those were the true faith is indeed. That's why all of Israel was always pitted against the prophets. The prophets were trying to bring them back on track. Listen, people, what are y'all doing? Why are y'all doing these sacrifices? Pay attention. Go back after we're done. Go back and read the Bible again. Listen. Let me go back to 29. Page 565. Jerub, the Etherian angel in command, sought to preserve the old tenets, and amongst mortals sought out one, Samuel, and inspired him to establish a college of prophets. And this was done at Naoth, and hither congregated the inspired, and they established a crescent tablet, and made prophecies from Ethera for a period of 70 years. Hereupon the Israelites were twain, those of the king and those of Eoah, the prophets, and these placed them at a disadvantage before the neighboring tribes and nations. Having sacrificed the name of the Great Spirit and made him into a man figure, the heathen said, what better is their Lord God than our Lord or our God? And they made war against the Israelites on all sides. And the latter, having stooped to a corporal king, went further on and raised armies of soldiers and went to war. In the 409th year after departure out of Egypt, the entire peace policy and non-resistance of the Mosaical inspiration was overthrown, and the Israelites became warriors and even warred against one another. We see that all through the Bible, right? All through Torah, shall I say. That's all through Torah. The Israelite, verse 32, page 565. The Israelites not only worship the The Israelites not only worshiped the imaginary idol, Lord God in heaven, but built representatives of him in stone and wood and worshiped them also. And now one, Ahijah, a young man from the college of prophets, foretold the coming captivity of Israelites as... And now one Ahijah, a young man from the college of prophets, foretold the coming captivity of the Israelites as a consequence of their idolatry. In the year 2768, before Cosmogony, a young man, Elijah, raised up from the branch of the college of prophets, and under the inspiration of the angel Jerub, went forth preaching amongst the heathen, preaching not the Lord God, but Jehovah. Right? Ahab, a king and a worshiper of Baal, said to Elijah, what better is one God than another, or more powerful? Are not all gods but the spirits of men raised up in heaven? Elijah answered him, saying, I preach neither Lord nor God, but Jehovah the Creator, who is ever present and potent over all things. Remember this conversation, right? Ahab, oh, here comes the troublemaker. O thou troubler of Israel. Elijah's like, I don't trouble Israel. You trouble Israel. Look. Ahab, I'm going to go back 35. Ahab, a king and worshiper of Baal, said to Elijah, "What better is one God than another, or more powerful? Are not all gods but the spirits of men raised up in heaven?" Elijah answered him, saying, "I preach neither Lord nor God, but Jehovah the Creator, who is ever present and potent over all things." Ahab said, "Then thy master hath neither eyes nor ears, knowing nothing, like the wind. He is foolish and without intelligent answer to thy prayers." Elijah said, "Summon thou thy priests and thy high priests, who have power through Baal and Ashtaroth and Dagon, and they and their gods shall try in a tournament against Jehovah." We remember this, the battle at Mount Carmel. Oh, it's about to go down. Listen. Verse 39, page 565. Ahab caused the tournament to take place, and when the priests and high priests of Baal had spread the sacrifice, they repeated their invocations for a miracle to prove the power of Baal and the other gods. But lo and behold, Jerub, the Etherian angel, with 10,000 spirits to assist him, prevented any sign or miracle being accomplished by the familiar spirits of Baal and Ashtaroth. So remember, now we know there was literally things that was happening, right? They could call on the Lord and the God, and they would answer their prayers, right? The lords of the gods, those in the line against the Creator, would answer the prayers of the people, right? So you got to be careful. You really got to know what's going on, right? But then you got the higher light, the higher ranking angels, second heaven and above. They just coming, just being present. The familiars ain't doing nothing. All their little parlor tricks, shenanigans, answered prayers, nothing's happening, which is why they started going crazy, jumping around, flipping, slashing one another, blood and all of this stuff. Like, what is going on? What is happening? Listen. That's good, Tabitha. She said, "This is the reason why I kept the Bible as a reference while I studied my Oahspe." Keep it all. Keep it all. Go through and verify stuff. Lesson. Verse 39, 565. Ahab caused the tournament to take place, and when the priests and high priests of Baal had spread the sacrifice, they repeated their invocations for a miracle to prove the power of Baal and the other gods. But lo and behold, Jerub, the Etherian angel, with 10,000 spirits to assist him, prevented any sign or miracle being accomplished by the familiar spirits of Baal and Ashtaroth. Let me go back. Hold on. I think I skipped a word. But lo and behold, Jerub, the Etherian angel, with 10,000 spirits to assist him, prevented any sign or miracle being accomplished by the familiar spirits of Baal and Ashtaroth. And now Elijah stretched forth his hand forth unto Jehovah, saying, "If it be thy will, O Father, give these people a sign of thy power." And Jerub and his Etherian host of angels caused a flame of fire to descend on the altar and consume the sacrifice. The people feared, and many fell down, exclaiming, "Jehovah is mighty, Jehovah is mighty." When the tournament was ended, Elijah went upon Mount Carmel and prayed for rain. And Jerub, with 10,000 times 10,000 angels, brought the winds from the north and south and east and west, and the moisture in the air above was converted into rain, and thus the long drought was ended. In the year 2635 before Cosmogony, the College of Prophecy raised up Jonah, Amos, and Hosea. In the year 2774 before Cosmogony, the kingdoms of Israel perished, and they became a scattered people and fell into bondage again. 2439 years before Cosmogony, Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, established idol worship and by law abolished the worship of Jehovah. He caused the prophet Ezra to be sawn in twain, and the judgment was because he worshiped Jehovah. Now, how many of y'all, let me tell y'all something. There are some pastors out here that know about Oahspe, right? It blows my mind that they don't even mention it to you or don't even hear the name. But they get some of these detailed stories, at least from my experience. I'm like, first of all, where can I find a story about the prophet Isaiah or I'm sorry, well, the story I heard, they said the prophet Isaiah was sawn in half, right? Because he refused to deny the great creator, right? I'm like, where did you get this story from? So I'm Googling, and at that time, I was still going to church, still going to the four-wall church. And I'm like, how do you know that? Where did you get that story from? So I'm asking questions all the while. All the while, they telling us some of these bits and pieces of things that I'm like, they must have an Oahspe in their references, but they're not telling us that this comes from Oahspe. So they read it and they pull stuff out, and then they do their sermons and stuff, which is, don't get me started about how I feel about that. Look, listen, 2,439 years before Cosmogony, Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, established idol worship. And this we also know, because that's all through this in Torah, right? He established idol worship and by law abolished the worship of Jehovah. He caused the prophet Ezra or Isaiah to be sawn in twain, and the judgment was because he worshiped Jehovah. For 300 years following, the only faithists among the Israelites were the prophets and the followers of the prophets, who had never affiliated with those of the kingdoms and armies. The faithists proper were a small minority and scattered in many lands. The rest, who were called Jews, lived under written laws and ceremonies, which were compiled and established by Ezra in Jerusalem, which combination of books was called the Bible, and was completed in the year 2344 BK, or before Cosmogony, right? Even if you read your Bible enough, or you read through Torah enough, right, you will realize there is this great divide between the prophets and all the rest of Israel, the Jews, right? And if you look around, and if you look at the community of our brethren and sister, and especially those Torah following Hebrew brethren and sisterin, they call themselves Jews, the Hebrews. It's still the same crap going on. Still the same. The laws and the ceremonies. And it's like, what do you say? It's like, I don't know. Some they fight you. Because and here's the thing. They don't know that what you're saying is the truth, because they're so tightly, deeply indoctrinated in the wrong perspective and the wrong perception of what this is. Like, they're getting everything from the flip side. When you should hear it coming from the right side downward, right? From up down. You getting it from the bottom up. They're like underneath all the truth, if that makes any kind of sense. Listen, I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's not just the Christians. It's the Hebrews too. Jews, Torah, whatever. Audrey, shalom. Did I say hey to Audrey earlier? And she just came in. No, I said hey to Audrey earlier. I'm sorry. Y'all, hold on. Maybe I didn't. But anyway, Audrey, hey girl, hey. All right, look. Pam, I tagged you in a post trying to help wake this sister up when you come across it. Okay. I just sit back and I observe people now, right? Because here's what I realized. If people not already asking questions and wondering what's going on, you might as well just drop your little jewels or breadcrumbs and keep it moving. I mean, you can keep circling back just to see if they saw it, see if they picked it up. Just observe what's happening. By their reaction to truth, you can tell where they're at, right? And sometimes they just need it to happen a few more times, just like in marketing. They understand human psyche and biased behavior and different things like this, which is why they bombard you with commercials, right? Because it doesn't even fall into your reticular activating system until about the 7th time of you seeing it, right? And then at 7th time hit, and it's like, That was neat. I'm going to catch that commercial again. Then the 8th time. Oh, right. That's right. Okay, I saw this somewhere before. Wait, was that a commercial that I seen? Did I see that out? You know, it starts waking you up, right? So you just got to keep dropping nuggets of truth to people because they won't get it for a while. They'll keep ignoring you and they'll bypass. And even if you post and stuff, they may scroll, look, go back. You know, people may not like, comment, subscribe, or anything, but they're looking, right? So it just takes a while for truth to set in for some people. And especially if it's something that catches their attention, they'll start listening like, wait a minute, hold on. He done said something that makes a little bit of sense. Wait a minute. So I didn't see my pastor say the same thing, but he explained it a different way, right? There is the stories are flipped upside down, and it's crazy. But you just got to sit back and just observe. Don't try and force people. Just really live life in truth, right? Be upright in all things with all people, no matter who they are, right? Because it's easier to win. You know, you can. And I don't want to refer to people as flies, but it's saying it's easier to catch flies with honey than it is with vinegar. The same is true when dealing with people, right? Somebody don't want to be around no negative people. They always got something to say, beat them down with the Bible and crap like that. Just like, get away from me. All right, y'all. Let me finish this. Okay, let me go back up here. Let's see. Let's go back to the years. I'll do 42. Verse 42, page 566. When the tournament was ended, Elijah went upon Mount Carmel and prayed for rain, and Jerub, with 10,000 times 10,000 angels, brought the winds from the north and south and east and west, and the moisture in the air above was converted into rain, and thus the long drought was ended. In the year 2635 BK, remember BK is before the Cosmogony era. In the year 2635 BK, the College of Prophecy raised up Jonah and Amos and Hosea. In the year 2574 BK, the kingdoms of Israel perished and they became a scattered people and fell into bondage again. In 2439 years before Cosmon, Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, established idol worship and by law abolished the worship of Jehovah. He caused the prophet Ezra or Isaiah to be sawn in twain or chopped in half. And the judgment was because he worshiped Jehovah. For 300 years following, the only faithists among the Israelites were the prophets and the followers of the prophets who had never affiliated with those of the kingdoms and armies. The faithists proper were a small minority and scattered in many lands. The rest, who were called Jews, lived under written laws and ceremonies which were compiled and established by Ezra in Jerusalem, which combination of books was called the Bible and was completed in the year 2344 BK. From that time forward, the Jews became worshipers of the Lord and the God, but the scattered tribes of faithists still held to the Great Spirit Jehovah, keeping their service secret. These latter were without sin, doing no war, nor resistance of evil against evil, but returning good for evil and loving one another as one's self. From the faithist branch sprang the Essene or the Essene or Essenes, right? We got some of them brothers and sisters, they come here, they follow the Essenes gospel, right? Listen. From the faithist branch sprang the Essene, it's spelled Asenean. And in parentheses, it has Essene, Essenean, or Essene, Es''Eans. From the faithist branch sprang the Essene or Essenes Association, cultivating prophecy and purity of spirit. For further light, read of Pharaoh in the lower heavens and the migration of the East Indian gods westward in another part of Oahspe. The angels of Jehovah now dwelt with the Essenes, who were the true Israelites in fact. I got this highlighted, but I'm going to underline this part. Verse 50, page 556. I'm sorry, page 566, verse 50. The angels of Jehovah now dwelt with the Essenes, who were the true Israelites in fact, though many of the Jews also professed Jehovah under the name of God and Lord God. In 350 years after this, Jehovah raised up from the Essenes one Joshua. Pay attention, y'all. Shebrew ain't here. Hey, listen, look, listen, pay attention. Verse 51. In 350 years after this, Jehovah raised up from the Essenes one Joshua, and Iasu in Nazareth. Joshua reestablished Jehovah and restored many of the lost rites and ceremonies. In the 36th year, let me go back just in case you didn't catch it, Joshua was the real, let's say, Jesus. He was the real Jesus, right? But there were some things that they got in the New Testament that this guy did not do, right? They added some stuff, and it's crazy. The Bronze Yogi report, Shalom, Bronze Yogi. Listen. In the 36th year of Joshua's, let me go back up, verse 51. In 350 years after this, Jehovah raised up from the Essenes one Joshua and Iasu in Nazareth. Joshua reestablished Jehovah and restored many of the lost rites and ceremonies. In the 36th year of Joshua's age, pay attention, 36. Jesus didn't live past 33. I'm just paying attention to some of these little small things, y'all. Look. In the 36th year of Joshua's age, he was stoned to death in Jerusalem by the Jews that worship the heathen gods, right? In the New Testament, they have you crucifying Jesus, right? Joshua lived 3 years longer than what the Jesus in the New Testament did, and he was stoned. He was not crucified, right? He was stoned to death. The one in the New Testament was hung on the prophet's wheel, right? Got the big X on his forehead, my G. 40 years after Joshua's death, a false god, Luamong, with millions of angel emissaries, obsessed the inhabitants of all those countries and plunged them into war and anarchy. The faithless were scattered to the four ends of the earth. Jehovah said, "Nevermore shall my chosen have kings. I alone am king." And it is so to this day, right? All of those worshippers of the Great Spirit will come from under these tyrant kings in churches who also carry the names of pastors and preachers. Some of them even apostles and prophets, right? We worship the Creator only, right? Even your doctrine is messed up. Listen, Jehovah said, "Nevermore shall my chosen have kings. I alone am king." And it is so to this day. Luamong, the false god, now pay attention, because this is who the Christians is worshiping. Listen, Luamong, the false god, now changed his name and falsely called himself Christ, which is the Ahamic word for knowledge. And he raised up tribes of mortal warriors who called themselves Christians, who are warriors to this day. You can go to YouTube and you can look at some of these Christians, look at their channels, especially the ones with huge followings, right? Find these ones with 35.5 thousand followers, or I'm trying to think of some of their numbers. I'm calling out the numbers without calling out the names. Or subscribers, and go through and pay attention to some of the comments, right? They look, I'm gonna just say they stone cold warriors to the heart, defending JC, right? And their lead prophet, king, priest or priestess, prophetess, prophet, whatever. They got a whole bunch of different titles on YouTube. I mean, they everywhere, but I'm just saying it's easy because we're on YouTube, right? You can see them on YouTube, right? They have amassed themselves huge followers. There's some even doing videos in battle gear, going to war for Christ, you know. I mean, I get in their mind what they think they're doing, but they don't really know what they're doing. And we're going to take it by force, and that goes directly against the Creator's commands. We ain't doing anything by force. We ain't gonna force people to do nothing. If they want to go off and do their own thing, let them go off and do their own thing. They got to see that. They got to see it to the end of themselves. They got to get to the end of themselves, and it has to be their choice. They have to choose, right? Everybody up. No, send. We need workers, missionaries over here. Go. Evangelize them until they accept Christ. Stay there, tarry with them. Cast out, like, all of this stuff. And I'm like, I was right in there with them. Father, how do we help get our brethren and sisterin free? Listen, it's like, I'm just like, wow. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? And some of them, I go back every other day and I go to their channel, see if they've woken up just a little bit more yet, right? I'm like, oh, they have such huge followings behind them and not realize. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, if they were on the side of real truth, right? They think what they have is real truth, just like we did, right? Before we woke up. Imagine, well, granted, when they truly wake up, they might lose a lot of their followers. But if they have true people that's following them, really searching for the Creator, like in all, they're doing it like with all their heart, like worshiping JC at this moment, right? If they take that, once the light comes on and they realize, oh my God, what? I thought I was worshiping the Creator. You've tricked me, right? They're going to be that much more, or even more so, on fire for truth, like real truth. Substance things is going to be like water to their thirsty souls. All these things clinging on to these people, waiting for them to upload videos. And oh my gosh, you came on like you normally come on, like every day. I was waiting for you to post again. My life has been going like you sit around and wait for people, like you don't try and reach out to the Creator at all yourself, right? That you already in a bad spot. Don't do that with anybody, right? But you can see this, you're reading through the comments. I'm like, Father, I feel like the Christians are the most miserable of all. You know what Paul said? He tell you, let it be accursed. Let the people be accursed. Anybody come preaching any other gospel besides Jesus Christ, man or angel, let them be accursed, right? They from my understanding and standpoint at this moment, they literally are. And people that come out of the Islam faith and all that, they probably think the same way about their people who's courting that, right? It's the same all the way around. But it's like they don't, like they are so enthralled with Jesus. It's like they can't even hear. The delusion is so strong and thick. It's like, how do we break that? Right? And do you really break it only with truth? But it has to be broken from the inside out. We just got to keep dropping truth, right? And it has to just keep filtering upon them. It's just going to have to be like the marketing mindset. It's just going to have to be said and done over. And they're going to have to observe it over and over and over again until there is a moment where they get a small point of clarity in their life and that truth hit them right there. But when the truth finds its way in, it goes straight down deep in the sha-na-na. And it, ooh, what was that? Wait a minute, what? Hold on. Can't put my finger quite on it. But I feel like something is a little off. And that's how it begins. It's like, yes, right? And that's when that happens, it's like the unseen forces, all the truth that they've been seeing, it just begins to kind of hit them from all sides, because we landed one right in the middle, deep down in the sha-na-na. Let's go. All right. But that has to happen from within first before the truth will even look like anything to them. They won't recognize it at all. Right. And you can see that. Go observe. Go. And I say use YouTube because it's easy to observe. It's right there. Just go looking for some. Put in Jesus Christ worshipers, lovers of Jesus. Anything got to do with the church. Go looking for them. Look for the ones with the biggest. Those are the really good examples. Look for the ones with the biggest amounts of following. Look for prophets. Look for prophetesses. Prophetesses. Look for them. Look for pastors. There are some pastors. Just go through, like, reading the comments and just look at, you can clearly tell the blinders and the ignorance, right? Even you'll see the superstition, not even understanding basic spiritual things that we understand now, the comments are flooded with it. And if they respond, because you got some of them, they'll respond, and then they'll just respond once or say something that they forgot or they left out in their video, and they got all these comments and people asking questions. They never interact. They never engage with the people. Like all of this stuff, I'm just like, it's just observe it. Y'all see what I'm talking about. Look. Right, Tabitha, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Gloria said, my sisters defend JC all the time. They start screaming for JC. They start screaming for JC like a banshee. Listen, remember like yesterday when I was telling y'all about our little Pandora experience riding on the back of the dragon? I call it a dragon because I couldn't remember the name of it. But the name of it is an Ekron, which is also called a banshee, right? That's funny. Thank you for using that word. I wanted to correct myself from yesterday. Yeah, listen. Tabitha, our place of worship lost membership when we started teaching Oahspe, right? Because everybody that you lost, they are so in love with a doctrine they don't even realize that it's false, right? And it's like, oh, Paul done already prepared them for people like us. Preaching another gospel, let them be accursed. They're gonna damn your souls to hell. Get away from them. It'll spread like a virus, right? And we should spread like a virus. The truth should spread faster than a virus. A flame being activated with more charcoal and heat and gas and everything. Derry CM, always almost mess up your name. Derry CM 777. Shalom, shalom. Okay, look. Oh yeah, an hour and 3 minutes. Let me go back up. Verse 55. We almost done with this. It's 59 verses in the Ezra. What is this called? The basis of the Ezra Bible. Listen. No, let me go back to 51. Listen. 50. The angels of Jehovah now dwelt with the Essenes, who were the true Israelites in fact, though many of the Jews also professed Jehovah under the name Lord and Lord God. In the 350 years after this, Jehovah raised up from the Essenes one Joshua and Iesu in Nazareth. Joshua re-established Jehovah and restored many of the lost rites and ceremonies. In the 36th year of Joshua's age, he was stoned to death in Jerusalem by the Jews that worshiped the heathen gods. 40 years after Joshua's death, a false god, Luamong, with millions of angel emissaries, obsessed the inhabitants of all those countries and plunged them into war and anarchy. The faithists were scattered to the four ends of the earth. So when it says we were scattered, it was like all Israel's been scattered to the four corners of the earth. Not y'all heathen worshiping Jews. The real faithists. Not everybody in Israel. All of Israel wasn't scattered. Only the true faithists that held to worshiping of the Great Spirit only. But even that was done by design. It was allowed to happen by design. Now you got truth scattered to the four corners of the earth, right? From our standpoint, oh, we're being scattered all over the world. Why we're being separated? No. Let it happen this way so truth can be in all parts of the world, all four corners. I got truth in all four corners of the world. That's how the Creator looks at it. The faithists were scattered to the four ends of the earth. Jehovah said, nevermore shall my chosen have kings. I alone am king. And so it is to this day. Luamong, the false god, now changed his name and falsely called himself Christ, which is the Ahamic word for knowledge. And he raised up tribes of mortal warriors who called themselves Christians, who are warriors to this day. The doctrine of these warriors was that knowledge, which implieth general education, was best preventative against crime and misery. Neither understood any man in those days that the word Christ had any reference to a man or a person. Now, from the time of Moses to Ezra, there was an interval of 400 years, which the Jews had no written record. The age of the Ezra Bible is not, therefore, from the time of Moses, but from the time of Ezra, 2,344 years before Cosmogony. And we know about this. They say between Malachi and Matthew, there is this period of 400 years, right? The Dark Ages, right? This really did happen. All right, the next section, Ahura Mazda. Under it, it says Creator. Descended by the Yeha, light through mortals, and in the Vedan gods, revealed from Zarathustra in, what is this, Yuan, Zen, Hazar, Riyi, and thence to Vede, and thence into Sanskrit, and by Brahma and by Buddha. These then that follow are the pillars of light of great Jehovah, still standing as the remnants of his beloved sons and daughters in the east. Ariana, the good, created things, and Rameus, the evil, created things. Gal, place of science in heaven. Mori, the second holy heaven. Bhakti, third holy place in heaven. Haroyu, confederate republics in heaven. Tumat, emancipated heaven above the lower or bound heavens. Where we at? You know what? I should have paused. We'll probably finish this up. Let's pause right here because we're at the hour mark, and I know y'all not on vacation like I am. Some may not be. So let me stick with the hour mark because it is, what's today? Tuesday, right? So let's pause. I'll come back and I'll reread this Ahura Mazda. That's literally only 2 verses. Then it goes into the basis of Vedic. But I don't really want to break it up like that. I want to keep all that together. And this is literally, after this, Lords of the Hosts of Heaven is the next one. And then we will be done with the book of Safa, right? And then we'll begin Bond's Book of Praise probably on Thursday. All right, so let's pause right here. Look at my page. Start right here. Okay. All right, so with that being said, Father, thank you for clarity on the Ezra Bible, also known as the Holy Bible and the Torah. Thank you for truth that sprung back down here to us, to the earth. All right. So, y'all, it is Tuesday, September the 6th, 2022, day 205 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1,223. We read pages 563 to 566 in Oahspe in the book of Safa, right? All right, beautiful people. So I'm going to be ending this today because everybody is still asleep. Look, we got some good rest yesterday. We was out inside of Florida. It was our rest day from the parks and everything. Today we go back. We starting with Epcot. Epcot is like the all the high-tech stuff. And they have these, just everything technology over here. And we're really excited to watch this show, how everything went from kind of like the dark ages to the information age now where we're at. Like each park has its own information piece on how the world progressed with everything. It's really, really good. It's fun, but it's also very, very instructional if you care to pay attention. I love the education piece of this. Now, I really don't think Disney get enough props for the education piece on things. They just looked at like, oh, entertainment, fun for the kids. From the Christian standpoint, oh, this is the devil's Hollywood for the children, trying to get all our children. I mean, it's whatever. I just look at things in a different way than what most people do. Okay, you want to read it? Okay, we'll do that. Okay, let's go to the Book of Inspiration. Anita said, Hold on, we're gonna be here for a few more minutes. Let's find it. Anita said, sister, please, and she put it in all caps, so this must be because we ain't got to it yet. Let me find out what page it's on. She said, sister, please read the Book of Inspiration, chapter 11. Please. I will read chapter 11. Hold on. Hold on. Let me find out where it's at, y'all. Start on page 701. Put this here. Hold on. Let me write it so I know we read it today. Book of Inspiration. You say chapter 11? Chapter 11. Okay. Start on page 701. Oh, I'm excited now. Page 708. Okay. Thank you. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Y'all got to count my numbers. This is X10 IV. That's not 11. You sure? 11? Chapter 11. Hold on. I got to count. Because I got this chapter. IV is 14. I got 14 highlighted. 706. Oh, 706. Okay. Yeah, this is 11. XI. Okay, so you sure? Page 706. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, 11. Okay. Book of Knowledge. I'm sorry. Book of Inspiration, chapter 11. It's on page 706. Okay. Seek not to force my God. What? Listen, hold up. Seek not to force my gospels and entice followers unto this or that, saith Jehovah. Didn't we just say that? Hold up. And after force, it has reference number 1, spread. You know what, Anita, sis? Girl, you been giving me some good. You done read. You completed and read through. You must got this deep down in your shot now already. Listen. Look, okay. Seek not to force my gospels and entice followers unto this or that, saith Jehovah. Neither go about preaching, saying, thus saith Jehovah. Let all men hear me in their own way. No man shall follow another. I will have no sect. I will have no creed. I am not exclusive, but I am with all my living creatures. To those who choose me, practicing their all highest light, I am a shield and fortification against all darkness and against all evil and contention. Wow. Listen, sis, thank you for this. First of all, thank you that you was able to connect this with today's reading. Hold on. Wow. Let all men hear me in their own way. No man shall follow another. I will have no sect, S-E-C-T, sect, like a sect of people. I will have no sect. I will have no creed. I am not exclusive, but I am with all my living creatures. To those who choose me, practicing their all highest light, I am a shield and fortification against all darkness and against all evil and contention. Thou shalt not establish me by man's laws, nor by the government of man, saith Jehovah, nor establish by man's laws or government any book or revelation, saying, behold, this is Jehovah's book. They devalued this. Amongst a whole bunch of everything else you done said. Listen. Nor establish by man's laws or government any book or revelation, saying, behold, this is Jehovah's book. To keep man from interfering with man, this hath been a great labor. To teach man to comprehend liberty, especially as to thought and as to knowledge, this hath been a great labor. For he falleth easily under the inspiration of his surroundings, and falleth under the teachings and persuasions of his brother. Wow. Just like all these people with these huge followings, they literally hang on every word of these guys who are worshipers of Luamong. Listen, to teach man to comprehend liberty, especially as to thought and as to knowledge, this hath been a great labor. For he falleth easily under the inspiration of his surroundings, and falleth under the teachings and persuasions of his brother, because he cometh from my hand into the world in innocence, a helpless infant. And his elder brothers take advantage of his innocence and teach him their own knowledge instead of directing him to me. Wow. And his elder brothers, who were in darkness themselves, and their elder brothers before them, I said unto man, be free, learn to know liberty, think for thyself, study thy Creator in all things, and in thyself in particular. Turn thou away from thy elder brothers, come thou to the all highest foundation. Be not confounded with abstruse reasonings, cut all things short, godlike. Learn thou the Creator and his creations, there is nothing more. The art of the seed of Jehovah. Thou art one of the seeds of Jehovah, and wert planted by his hand. Be thou free from all the world. Wow. That is amazing. I'm going to take this whole chapter and post it. Look, for real. I ain't going to say I'm going to be a little messy, but I'm going to go to two of these particular channels individually, one of their videos. And I'm going to paste this whole chapter if YouTube will let me leave a comment this long. I'm just set it in there. I'm gonna just set it in there. Hey, read it if you want to. Goodbye. Maybe the bill will drop half on. They're gonna click on. Oh my God, I wish you write a book, and they won't even look at it. Right? Listen. This is amazing. Let's read it one more time, just for good measure. Just make sure it's sunk in good for us. Auntie Belinda Brown, shalom. Wow, I know, right? One more time. Look. Chapter 11, page 706. The Book of Inspiration. Seek not to force my gospels and entice followers unto this or that, saith Jehovah. Neither go about preaching, saying, thus saith Jehovah. Let all men hear me in their own way. No man shall follow another. I will have no sect. I will have no creed. I am not exclusive, but I am with all my living creatures. To those who choose me, practicing their all highest light, I am a shield and fortification against all darkness and against all evil and contention. Thou shalt not establish me by man's laws, nor by the government of man, saith Jehovah, nor establish by man's laws or government any book or revelation, saying, behold, this is Jehovah's book. To keep man from interfering with man, this hath been a great labor. To teach man to comprehend liberty, especially as to thought and as to knowledge, this hath been a great labor. For he falleth easily under the inspiration of his surroundings, and falleth under the teachings and persuasions of his brother, because he cometh from my hand into the world in innocence, a helpless infant. And his elder brothers take advantage of his innocence and teach him their own knowledge instead of directing him to me. And his elder brothers were in darkness themselves, and their elder brothers before them. I said unto man, be free, learn to know liberty. Think for thyself. Study thy Creator in all things, and in thyself in particular. Thou turn away from thy elder brothers, and come thou to the all highest fountain. Be not confounded with abstruse reasonings. Cut all things short. Godlike. Learn thou of the Creator and his creations. There is nothing more. Thou art one of the seeds of Jehovah, and were planted by his hands. Be thou free from all the world. Wow, this is just amazing. I'm super excited about getting to this book. I'm super excited about this. One more chapter. One more chapter. Listen. Look. One more chapter, y'all. Look. Book of Inspiration, chapter, what is this? XV 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Is that 3? 1, 2, 3. On page 710. And something just caught my eye.
No kid on the water for all you because I'm about to pee.
Okay. Now everybody knows Isaiah. All right. Malachi Maccabee, shalom, shalom. First time, shalom, shalom. Bless up. Look. Yes. Girl, you caught me. Yeah, I thought everybody was still asleep. Everybody waking up now. All right. I let the water play a little bit while Isaiah is, in the water closet. The excitement comes when the Most High Creator lives through you. I know, right? Look, you can be so free. I have a little bit of freedom. I thought I had some freedom. But there's even more freedom that just comes to my sha-na-na. Thank you, sir. Come here. Use this water that I got running. Thank you. There's so much more freedom in just when you go outside your house and just observing nature and everything around, just really enjoying things, right? And even coming to Disney. Some Christians wouldn't be caught dead in Disney, right? Because of everything that they say about Disney. But I'm here not just for the children and the fun of it all, but the ingenuity that the Creator has given to our brothers and sisters to even put something together like this. And the details, they bring parts from all over the world here, and at every Disney park is something different, right? They don't replicate the same thing over and over and over again at a different park. You can go to California, or you can go here, you can go to Asia, or you can go to Africa, whatever. They bring all that here, and in different ones they do different things, right? It's always different wherever you go. So there's multiple mini parks within the bigger park altogether, right? But we got a couple pieces from Africa. Nairobi. We got a staff. Y'all probably, maybe, I think there's a picture. I think I posted a picture. I'm gonna post a picture with my husband from this staff. It's a gentleman. He's from Nairobi and he's here. There's a lot of people from all over the world here. And I promise you, we haven't found 5 black people in a row that speak English. Everybody here is speaking another language, and we like, what? And because you see somebody like, hey, how you doing? They go off, and I was like, oops, we thought you was from America. You look like you're from America. You look like one of the American Negroes, but no, my G, you from Greece. What, Jalen? Go ahead. How many black people that speak English have y'all seen?
I don't know, bro.
Yeah. So, and her and Jeremiah go off by themselves. It's people from all over the world here. You saw it? I'm gonna show a picture with just James in there, right? You'll see the staff. But the gentleman from Nairobi, he sits there, and he's carving. All of them is they're none that are alike, but this one with the lion head, it looked like a totem pole, just because of his working all the time and the detail that he put into this. I'm like, his and that's not the only thing that he did, right? His just eye and his skill in sitting there doing this, things like that. Although people all over the world do it, but it just amazes me, right? At the gifts and talents that the Creator has given to each different one, right? Your gift may not be carving or things intricate. You may have a beautiful voice, so you may be a good teacher or whatever, right? It's just like people from all over the world. It's just observing that, and at first, let me tell you, it's like, man, these doggone people down here in Florida is some rude so-and-sos. Then I started paying attention, and I realized instead of trying to speak, I should just smile, because the smile is like universal. And that's when I realized, like, oh, well, I hear people talking that they're all speaking in different languages. So maybe hello didn't register them like hello in their language. Maybe Spanish. Some Spanish people, speak Spanish. It's easy to kind of communicate with them because that's real close to English, right? But some of the others, they just look at you, and you know, then I realized, oh, they're different languages. So smile, and when you smile, everybody smiles back. I'm like, okay, so we got that part down. And we almost like, oh my gosh, when we see another English speaking person, right? So I promise you, not 5 black people in a row that we've seen since we've been here speak.
Especially if they black.
Right, especially if they black. That's what, I mean, clearly we know, you know, but living in America, it's like you see black people, you know, everybody talk English, you know, but to have people like my same complexion, black, and just, I mean, I ain't even talking about like dark skinned people. Like, you look like my cousin, right? And your accent, I'm like, where are you from? Right? It's amazing. It's beautiful. It really is. Okay. So let's read this one right here. Okay. Page 17. This is going to be the last thing in the book of inspiration, right? Something here caught my eye about, a pure man is as a clear glass. That just kind of caught my eye. So we're going to read this. This is, I still didn't figure out the chapter. Somebody do the chapter. Vanessa said chapter 12 is good too. Well, y'all have me reading the whole book of inspiration today. Hold on. Let's read this and we'll come back to chapter 12. This is the Holy Cosmogony Day. It's chapter XV, I think it's 18. X is 10, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, chapter 18, which is the last chapter in the book of inspiration. Just go to page 17. It's 28 verses. Listen. Besides the above, Jehovah gave one more holy day, Cosmogony Day, which he also commanded to be kept in commemoration of another matter, which Jehovah commanded to be secret with the faithless for a certain period of time, the which time hath not expired to this day. Therefore, the day of Cosmogony is still a secret with the faithless. And Jehovah said that mortals and angels may live and labor in concert. Behold, I have given certain days whereby large congregations on earth may be met by my organic heavens in reunion, mortals and angels, for the happiness of both and for the glory of my works. Now behold also, as by my presence I inspire thee, when thou laborest with me, and thou art doing righteously and with purity and love, so also is it with thee in regard to my angels. When thou makest and keepest, okay. When thou makest and keepest thy corporal body pure and clean, my angels who are pure and clean come to thee and aid thee and enlighten thee. I'm sorry, I'll read that over. Hold on. I wish she right here.
Okay, Josh is taking a long time.
Yeah, okay, verse 4. When thou makest and keepest thy corporal body pure and clean, my angels who are pure and clean come to thee to aid thee and to enlighten thee. And when thou puttest away all unclean thoughts and all selfish desires, and seekest to obtain wisdom and to learn how best thou can help thy fellow man, behold, my angels of light and wisdom come to thee, and by virtue of their presence, which thou seest not, they inspire thy soul in the light of thy Creator. Man hath said, I will not be a seer, nor a prophet, nor a suist, nor a sargus. Verily, I will not have angels with me to teach me or to give me any light or knowledge under the sun. Whatever I can attain, it shall be my own. Wiser it is for me to attain to know and to do things of myself than to have angels come and to give to me or manifest through me. Verily, I will not be used by man nor angel, for it would be prostituting my flesh and my spirit to others. Behold, my body was given to me for my own use and profit, and to establish and develop my own soul unto eternal happiness and individuality. Alike unto all people is my presence, saith Jehovah. I am unto the just and the unjust. I am everywhere, both in darkness and in light. Because thou art in darkness, thou beholdest not me. Because thou art imperfect in flesh and spirit, thou deniest me. Because thou art confounded with inharmony, thou believest not in me. He who hath not an ear for music discovereth not a tune, even as he that is discordant denieth my person. To the pure there is no selfishness, neither for earthly things, nor for their own flesh and spirit. A pure man is as a clear glass, and he can see out of himself, and so perceive my angels and me. Through the pure man, pure angels can see morality as well as spiritually. Their presence inspireth him to understand all things. As much with the man that is not a seer or a suist are the angels as with those that are seers or suists or sargus. Because thou seest not, nor hearest angels, only proveth thy darkness, but proveth not the absence of angels. To the dark come the dark, with the dark abide the dark, both angels and mortals. More is the man of darkness ruled by angels than is the man of light. Behold, I created thee not to fill any place in all the world for thine own self's sake. Neither gave I flesh nor thy spirit to be thine own only. These also shalt thou relinquish, saying, to thee, O Jehovah, I give all, my flesh, my spirit, my mind, and all my service to be thine forever. Thou shalt say, appropriate thou me, soul and body, in whatsoever way thou canst, that I may do the most good unto others, mortals and angels. Until thou attainest this, thou shalt not hear my voice, nor see my hand. As I gave away myself, and thus created all things, so shalt thou follow in my footsteps, in order to become one with me. Herein lieth the secret of wisdom, truth, love, and power, time without end. That was beautiful. And that is the end of the book of inspiration. All right, y'all. So this is going to be it for today. This is going to be it. Let me see. I'm going back to 12 real quick just to see how long or short it is. Oh, that is good. Y'all read this one by yourself, though. I got to go ahead and get going. I hear them moving around. Oh, this is real good. Okay, but we'll wait to read this when we actually get to this. Y'all, we almost done with Oahspe, like the very first time. Like we were almost done. I can believe it. I can hardly believe this. We're on page 566. It's 875 pages. Actually, without the index and the glossary, it's a total of 7. Well, because you got some charts, so that's the glossary. Okay, hold on, let's go. It's 768 pages, right? So the last book is the book of Oahspe. And I asked somebody this question. I don't think anybody ever answered me. We was talking about the we was talking about the current ruling administrator over the earth right now. And y'all, I wrote it in here. I know the name. Hold on. It's a female. Somebody know it right off the top of their head. Put her name in there. The current ruling administrator over earth. The current god of earth. What's her name? I wrote it on one of my pages. I think Oahspe College University. I think Shebrew know the name too if y'all still here. I had a question. And it could just be because I ain't got to it yet, but I need just a little bit of direction on something. What's her name? Y'all know where to find her? I know it ain't this far. Oh, there you go. Chesivi Anna Theotes. Theotes. Okay. CHE apostrophe ISVI Chesivi. Right, okay. What page is she found on? I've been looking for her. You remember? Or what book? What book? Yeah, thank you, Shibu. Chesivi Anathotos. Because I have a question. Okay, let me put it back here. Back in the beginning of August. Okay, so here's my question. Okay, so I read over this last book of Oahspe, right? And this is for the people. And actually, this is it. Well, it's in the appendix, right? This is a part of this last book. Is a part of the appendix, right? Book of Oranothan, or Light from Heaven. And let me just read this. The reference letter A, right? This is my question. Reference letter A is after the title of this, and this is on page 765, y'all, if y'all got it. Book of Oranothan, right? It says A, and A is located on page 768, which is just a couple pages over. And it says down here, the implication seems to be that Oranothan is the current Etherian administrator of Earth during this first arc of Cosmon, just as Spencer, Armige, and Lika were Etherian administrators of past cycles. S in the book of S just means spirit in general and is not any person's name or that of any Etherian administrator. So maybe Cosmon Cal or Selah might be able to better answer this. So I'm just like, first of all, I need to know the page where Chesivi is located. Just make sure I'm reading everything in context, right? And to see which one is, because we're still in the first arc of Cosmon. And according to this, Oranothan is the current administrator during this first arc of Cosmon. Anybody know the page where we can find her? Chesivi? Anybody? Anybody? Let me check again. Make sure I didn't overlook her in the index. This be my question. Y'all help a sister out. Anybody? Bueller. Okay, you got Spencer Armige in here. Chesivi. Okay. Yeah, so she's not, at least she doesn't have like a title bolded or a reference bolded with her name in the index. I've been looking for her. Anybody? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody? Oahspe College University. You know? Anybody? Okay, when y'all come across it, just know I'm looking for her. Find the page. If y'all find it before I do. If I find it, y'all, everybody gonna know when I find it. Y'all, I found it, right? I have not come across her yet. But anyway, yeah, that's what I've been looking for. I'm trying to find her. Ever since I heard about her, because I had art before I heard about her, and I heard, yes, babe. We about to go to Epcot, boo. We can, if we get back early today, we'll go get in the pool when we get back. No. We talked about this. No, we'll go to the pool tomorrow. After we come back from the park, then y'all can pool it up. Because when they get in the pool, their hair gonna frizz up. It was like, let's get some more of these princess pictures and stuff in before the hair starts frizzing. The rest of the time we got on our rest days, you can pool it up. Do as thou wilt in the pool. I'm trying to make sure her hair not freeze up for all her princess pictures, because it's 4 parks. My husband got her 4 pretty princess dresses, right? So each part, of course, we snapping up pictures, but you know, they got photographers all over Disney, so they're getting some beautiful shots of her. Oh, and the picture from the roller coaster yesterday, I thought I was going to be able to share it with y'all. I can't share it yet because we're not done. And so once we go in and because we bought the picture packet, and so if we go in and we redeem the pictures, I just don't want to chance it. If I go in there and redeem all the pictures, we got 48 hours, and we're going to be here longer than another 48 hours, right? We don't leave until Friday. I want to make sure we don't mess that up, and I just want to make sure we get all of the pictures, you know. So I won't be able to share it to possibly Friday, the roller coaster video. I mean, the roller coaster picture with me crying on the roller coaster. Yeah, I was tricked in getting on a roller coaster. Didn't realize it was a roller coaster. But anyway, I'm done, y'all. We're about to get out of here. Tootie, come on and end this. But if y'all find her, Chesivi, y'all let me know, please. Shebrew, if you find it in your notes, she said I don't know the page, it's in my notes. But if you find it, just respond to this video at the bottom or something and help us out, because I can't find it. I'm sure we'll come across it by the time we get done reading, but I'm trying to find it now. All right, y'all. That being said, we out of here. I love y'all. I will see y'all back here tomorrow morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Today. Bells. Come on in, that's secure. All right, girl. Go ahead. You can end it. I already said bye. You want to say peace to everybody?